Be honest. How many times have you started something feeling unstoppable, only to lose motivation a few days later?
More times than I want to admit. I get excited, make a huge plan, and somehow that plan becomes the reason I quit.
What if the problem isn't that you don't have enough motivation? What if you're spending too much of it on things that don't matter?
So I don't need more motivation?
Not necessarily. You may need to stop wasting the motivation you already have. That's where the 80-20 rule becomes useful.
Okay, you've got my attention. Show me.
Be honest. How many times have you started something feeling unstoppable, only to lose motivation a few days later?
More times than I want to admit. I get excited, make a huge plan, and somehow that plan becomes the reason I quit.
What if the problem isn't that you don't have enough motivation? What if you're spending too much of it on things that don't matter?
So I don't need more motivation?
Not necessarily. You may need to stop wasting the motivation you already have. That's where the 80-20 rule becomes useful.
Okay, you've got my attention. Show me. That's where I'd get stuck.
Then make it practical. Look at your goal and ask, if I could only do one thing today, which action would make the biggest difference?
Only one?
1, not 10, not 5.
That sounds impossible when everything feels important.
That's precisely why the question works. It forces you to separate what's genuinely important from what merely feels urgent.
What's the difference?
Urgent things demand your attention. Important things change your situation.
Give me an example.
Imagine you want to build a YouTube channel. You could spend the morning choosing fonts, organizing folders, researching cameras, watching videos about thumbnails, answering messages, and planning future videos.
All of which sounds productive.
That's the trap. You can spend 6 hours preparing to create without actually creating anything.
So what's the 20%?
Probably the actual video. Writing it, recording it, editing it, or improving whatever is currently holding the channel back. The exact answer depends on your situation.
So I should look for the action that creates movement, not the action that makes me feel busy.
Yes. And there's another clue. Your 20% may be hiding behind the thing you've been avoiding.
Why?
Because important work often contains uncertainty. Maybe you're afraid the video won't be good. Maybe you're afraid you'll make mistakes. Maybe you don't know how people will respond.
So my brain offers me easier tasks.
Exactly.
Like cleaning my desk instead of starting the project.
Cleaning the desk gives you an immediate feeling of control. Starting the project gives you uncertainty.
So I convince myself I'm preparing.
Preparation is useful when it supports the work, but sometimes it becomes a comfortable hiding place.
That's uncomfortably accurate.
Good, because this is where motivation becomes easier to understand. Sometimes the goal hasn't become less exciting. We've simply surrounded it with too much resistance.
Too many steps?
Too many steps, decisions, expectations, and distractions competing for the same attention.
So if I want to stay motivated, I need to make the important action easier to start.
Exactly. Here's a simple test. If I did this consistently for the next 30 days, would my situation noticeably change?
And if the answer is yes?
You've probably found something important.
And if it's no?
You may be looking at maintenance, preparation, or busy work rather than your highest impact action.
I like that. I can test it instead of pretending I know the answer.
That's the point. You don't need perfect certainty. You need a reasonable hypothesis. Then you pay attention to the results.
So 80-20 isn't saying do exactly 20%.
Correct. It's not a mathematical command. It's a way of looking for imbalance, where some actions produce much more than others.
1 hour spent on the right thing can be worth more than 5 hours scattered across the wrong things.
Exactly.
And that's where people get motivation wrong. They assume more effort automatically means more progress.
Effort without direction can become exhausting very quickly.
So the real question isn't, how hard am I working?
It's, am I spending my best effort on what matters most?
That's a much better question.
Now apply it to the goal you've been struggling with. Forget the entire mountain for a moment. What's the one action that, if repeated consistently, would make the biggest difference?
I think I know what mine is.
Good. But finding the right action creates another problem.
What problem?
You can still lose motivation if you make that action too big.
So I find my 20%, then ruin it by making it enormous?
That's what happens to a lot of people. You identify the important thing and immediately decide, since this matters so much, I'll do 2 hours every morning, 7 days a week.
That sounds exactly like me.
Day 1 feels incredible. You're focused, excited, and proud of yourself.
Then day 3 happens.
You wake up tired. Other responsibilities appear. 2 hours suddenly feels enormous. You skip once, and the entire plan starts feeling broken.
Then I decide I've lost motivation again.
But you didn't fail at the goal. You built a system that required your best performance every day.
Nobody can operate at their best every day.
Exactly. Motivation becomes fragile when your plan only works on perfect days.
So what should the plan look like?
Smaller than your ambition wants it to be.
That's painful.
But useful. Your goal can be enormous. Your daily action doesn't have to be.
So if speaking English is my priority, I don't need to promise myself an hour every day?
Not if an hour makes you inconsistent. Start with 15 or 20 minutes if that's what you can realistically repeat. The goal isn't to impress yourself on Monday. It's to still be doing it next Thursday, next week, and next month.
So consistency is part of the 80-20 idea.
Absolutely. An action that produces excellent results, but you perform 3 times isn't necessarily your most useful action. The better action is often the one that creates meaningful progress and fits your real life.
That changes how I think about discipline.
It should. Discipline isn't always forcing yourself to do more. Sometimes it's knowing how much is enough.
Knowing when to stop.
Exactly. If you finish 20 focused minutes and still have energy, you could keep going for another hour. But sometimes stopping while the experience still feels manageable is smarter.
Why?
Because you're not only managing today's motivation, you're managing tomorrow's willingness to begin.
So I leave some energy for the next session.
Right. If every session leaves you exhausted, your brain can start associating the goal with pain. Eventually, even opening the book feels heavy.
Whereas if I finish feeling okay, tomorrow doesn't seem so threatening.
You're teaching yourself, this is manageable, I can do this again.
That's what I need. I don't want another plan that makes me excited for 3 days.
A motivation spike feels powerful because it burns brightly. Sustainable motivation is quieter.
Quieter?
It sounds more like, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I can handle doing it.
Almost boring.
And boring can be incredibly powerful.
Because boring is repeatable.
Exactly. The goal isn't to make every day exciting. It's to make progress easy enough that you don't need excitement to continue.
So where does 80-20 fit?
It tells you what deserves your limited effort. Find the leverage point, then lower the resistance.
Find the right thing, then shrink it.
That's the idea. And there's another benefit. Every time you complete a small promise to yourself, you're collecting evidence.
Evidence of what?
That you can trust yourself.
Explain that.
If you repeatedly promise yourself 2 hours and repeatedly fail, you start expecting yourself to quit. But if you promise 15 minutes and actually do 15 minutes, the next promise feels more believable.
So motivation isn't only about getting results. It's also about building trust with yourself.
Exactly. Every completed action says, I do what I said I would do.
Which makes the next action easier.
Right.
But what happens when I genuinely don't feel like doing it?
First, separate resistance from exhaustion.
What's the difference?
Resistance says, I don't want to start. Exhaustion says, I genuinely don't have much left today.
And those require different responses.
Yes. If you're simply resisting, make the action smaller and start. If you're genuinely exhausted, forcing yourself harder may not be the answer.
So 80-20 isn't permission to push endlessly.
It's almost the opposite. Stop wasting effort, including effort spent fighting yourself unnecessarily.
Then I find the action that matters, make it small enough to repeat, and protect it from unnecessary resistance.
Exactly.
But I can already see another problem. I might find my priority, and then keep worrying about everything I'm not doing.
And that's where we need to talk about the other 80%.
So the hardest part might not be choosing the 20%. It might be trusting myself enough to let the other 80% wait.
That's often the uncomfortable part. Choosing what matters also means choosing what doesn't need your attention right now.
If I'm learning English, I might feel like I should be studying grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, listening, and writing all at once.
And that sounds responsible. But if everything competes for your attention, you may end up doing none of it consistently.
So the fear of missing something creates the problem.
Exactly. You become so afraid of missing an opportunity that every opportunity starts fighting for the same limited energy.
Then I get overwhelmed.
Think of your attention like a spotlight. It can illuminate one area clearly, or you can keep swinging it around the entire room and never see anything properly.
The other things aren't useless. They just don't deserve equal attention right now.
That's the distinction.
So if speaking is my biggest weakness, I can focus heavily on speaking without deciding grammar doesn't matter forever.
Right. Grammar can wait. Writing can wait. Other things can wait. You're not deleting them. You're sequencing them.
That removes a lot of pressure.
Because pressure often comes from trying to solve your entire future today.
So I only need the next useful step.
Exactly. You can know where the mountain is without trying to climb every section at once.
I think I carry the entire mountain around with me every morning.
Most people do. They think about the result they want months from now, the work they haven't done, the skills they haven't learned, and everyone who seems further ahead.
Then they wonder why they don't feel motivated.
You're asking your brain to emotionally process an enormous amount of unfinished work before you've even started.
So what's the alternative?
Give yourself one clear target, not the entire mountain, just the next meaningful step.
What if I still feel behind?
Look at evidence instead of feelings. Ask, am I moving forward on the thing that matters most?
That's very different from asking whether I've done everything.
Completely different. Activity and progress aren't the same thing.
I can have a busy day and still accomplish nothing important.
Exactly. And that's frustrating because your brain wants evidence that the effort is leading somewhere.
So finishing the right thing gives me that evidence.
Yes. Action creates progress. Progress creates confidence. Confidence makes the next action easier.
And the opposite happens when I scatter myself everywhere.
Too much scattered effort creates weak results. Weak results create doubt. Doubt makes the next action harder.
So 80-20 helps me choose which cycle I want to build.
Right.
And I don't need confidence before I start.
No. Confidence often comes after you have evidence that you can follow through.
So I start small enough to prove something to myself.
Exactly.
But what if my 20% changes?
It will.
So I don't find one perfect priority and follow it forever?
No. Your highest impact action depends on where you are right now. When you're learning English, speaking might be the biggest leverage point at first. Later, vocabulary or pronunciation might matter more.
So the priority moves as I improve.
That's the point. 80-20 isn't a fixed destination. It's a way of continually asking, where is the greatest leverage right now?
So instead of asking, what's the perfect plan?
Ask, what's the highest impact action I can realistically repeat right now?
That's much more manageable.
And once you think that way, you stop measuring yourself by how much you can tolerate and start measuring yourself by how effectively you use your energy.
Motivation isn't a competition to see who can suffer the longest.
Exactly.
It's about making the energy I have actually count.
Which brings us to the next problem, protecting that energy before the day has a chance to spend it for you.
That's where I struggle. My day starts, and suddenly my phone, messages, work, and everything else are already asking for my attention.
Most people don't lose their motivation in one dramatic moment. They lose it in tiny pieces.
Like checking one message.
Then another. 5 minutes of social media, an unnecessary email, a task that could have waited. None of those choices feels disastrous.
But together they drain me.
Exactly. By the time you reach the thing you actually care about, your attention has already been divided 20 different ways.
So my motivation isn't necessarily gone. It's been spent.
Right. That's why you need to decide what gets your best energy.
Before everything else gets it?
Whenever possible. Think about when you naturally feel most alert. If your strongest window is in the morning, don't automatically spend it answering random messages.
That's exactly what I do. I handle all the easy stuff first,
And then the important work gets whatever energy survives.
which usually isn't much.
Then you interpret the problem as a motivation failure.
So I should reverse it.
Give your highest impact task the version of you that still has energy.
What if I have several important things?
Rank them. You can't give everything first priority. Ask yourself 3 questions. What outcome matters most right now? Which action has the biggest effect on that outcome? If I don't do this today, will it actually matter?
That third question is interesting.
Because urgency can be deceptive. Some things feel urgent simply because they're visible.
Like notifications.
Exactly. A notification appears on your screen, and your brain immediately thinks, deal with this. But visibility isn't importance.
So I need boundaries around my attention.
They don't have to be complicated. Put your phone in another room for 20 minutes. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Decide what you're doing before you sit down.
20 minutes sounds almost too easy.
That's why it works. We're not redesigning your entire life overnight. We're protecting a small piece of your day and using it deliberately.
So I could start with 20 minutes?
Absolutely. 20 protected minutes can be more valuable than 2 distracted hours.
Because I'm actually doing the thing.
And you're not spending half those 20 minutes deciding what to do.
So decision-making itself is part of the problem.
It can be. If you sit down and start asking, should I study vocabulary, watch a lesson, practice speaking, you've already spent attention before the work begins.
Decide beforehand.
Exactly.
And prepare the environment too.
Right. Leave the book open, have the document ready, put your exercise clothes somewhere visible. Make the thing you want easier to start and the distraction slightly harder to reach.
So the environment becomes part of my 20%.
Sometimes it can. One small environmental change can remove dozens of moments of resistance.
What about rest?
Rest can absolutely be part of the system.
Even when I'm trying to be productive?
Especially then. Sustainable motivation requires recovery. The important distinction is between rest and stimulation disguised as rest.
Like scrolling for an hour.
Exactly. You may call it a break and come back more scattered than before.
So protecting motivation also means recovering.
Yes. You can't keep withdrawing energy from the same account without putting anything back.
Protect my energy, spend it on the 20%, then recover.
That's the rhythm.
And the goal isn't unlimited motivation.
No, the goal is to stop requiring unlimited motivation in the first place.
So even if I have a bad day, there's still a way forward.
There has to be, because life won't cooperate every day.
That's when my plans usually fall apart. What do I do when motivation is at its lowest?
First, stop expecting your worst days to look like your best days.
So I'm comparing real life to my ideal self.
Exactly. You build a plan around unlimited energy and then judge yourself when reality doesn't match it.
But shouldn't I push through?
Sometimes. But pushing through doesn't always mean doing the full version of the task. Sometimes it means doing the smallest version that keeps the habit alive.
Give me an example.
Say your normal goal is 20 minutes of English speaking practice. Today you've had a terrible day and even 20 minutes feels heavy.
That's when I'd probably skip.
Instead, do 2 minutes.
2.
2. Open your notes and speak about your day for 2 minutes. You're not trying to make impressive progress. You're protecting the connection between you and the habit.
So the goal changes on a bad day.
The goal becomes continuity rather than performance.
That's a useful distinction.
On a normal day, your highest impact action might be 20 focused minutes. On a terrible day, it might be showing up for 2.
Because 2 minutes keeps the habit alive.
Exactly.
But doesn't doing less make me lazy?
Not when you're deliberately adjusting to your capacity. Laziness is avoiding something because you don't want to deal with it. Strategic reduction is recognizing that today you have less capacity and adjusting the target.
So motivation needs flexibility.
A rigid system eventually breaks. A flexible system bends.
That's probably why I hate missing a day. One missed day makes me feel like the entire streak is ruined.
That's another trap. People turn consistency into perfection.
What's wrong with a perfect streak?
The streak can become more important than the behavior. You start protecting the number instead of protecting the habit.
Then one missed day becomes 3.
Exactly.
So what should I do?
Never turn one missed day into a decision about your identity. Don't say, "I always quit." Say, "I missed yesterday. What made it difficult? And what can I change today?"
That's curiosity instead of guilt.
Right.
Guilt says, you failed. Curiosity says, what happened?
And the second question gives you something you can actually work with. Maybe the task was too large. Maybe the timing was wrong. Maybe your environment was distracting. Maybe you spent all your energy elsewhere.
So a bad day can teach me something about my system.
Exactly. Your routine isn't supposed to prove that you're disciplined. It's supposed to help you discover what works.
So if something keeps failing, I shouldn't automatically blame myself.
Question the design.
Give me an example.
If your goal requires 90 minutes every morning, but your mornings are chaotic, maybe the problem isn't your character.
Maybe the system is badly designed.
Try 20 minutes after dinner, or 10 minutes during lunch. You're looking for the point where the action fits naturally into your actual life.
So 80-20 applies to the system itself.
Exactly. Don't just find the actions that create results. Find the small changes that make those actions easier to maintain.
And what if I still can't stay motivated?
Ask whether the goal still matters to you.
What if I just don't care about it anymore?
Then that's useful information. Not every abandoned goal is a failure. Sometimes you discover that a goal belonged to an older version of you.
So effort I've already spent doesn't mean I have to keep spending more.
Right?
And if the goal still matters but I don't feel like doing it?
Reduce the action.
Just start smaller.
Exactly. Tell yourself, I don't need to finish. I only need to begin.
And once I begin, I might naturally continue.
Sometimes. But even if you don't, you've still kept the connection alive.
So, on a bad day, I ask, what's the smallest useful action I can take right now?
Yes,
And it still has to connect to the bigger goal.
that's important. We're not doing random easy things just to feel productive. We're shrinking the important thing itself.
2 minutes of speaking instead of 20. 1 paragraph instead of a whole page.
Exactly. A short walk instead of a full workout. One important piece of the project instead of the whole project.
That's much less intimidating.
And that's the point. Sustainable progress matters more than maximum output.
So, I don't need to win the whole day.
You just need to win the next useful action.
That's a much easier target.
And once you know how to handle both good days and bad days, there's one final question. How do you know whether your 20% is actually working?
That's important. I can definitely convince myself I'm making progress when I'm really just doing things that feel useful.
That's why you need evidence. The 80-20 rule isn't about choosing the activity that sounds important. It's about discovering which activity actually produces results.
So I need to measure something.
Yes, but don't turn that into another complicated system. You don't need 10 spreadsheets and 20 numbers. You need 1 or 2 signals that tell you whether your effort is creating the outcome you want.
What kind of signals?
Go back to the goal itself. If your goal is speaking English better, don't only measure how many minutes you studied.
Because I could study for an hour and still not improve my speaking.
Exactly. Measure something closer to the outcome. How long can you speak without switching languages? How easily can you explain an idea? How many conversations can you handle without freezing?
So measure the result, not just the effort.
Whenever possible, effort matters, but results tell you whether the effort is pointed in the right direction.
Like someone going to the gym every day.
Right. They can track workouts, but if their real goal is getting stronger, they should eventually notice whether they're lifting more, moving better, or recovering differently.
The workout is the input, the improvement is the evidence.
Exactly.
What if I discover that the thing I thought was my 20% isn't producing much change?
Then you adjust.
I'm allowed to change the plan?
You're supposed to.
I think people get attached to routines because they've already invested time into them.
And that's how you can spend months doing something simply because you've already spent months doing it. Every few weeks, ask, what is actually improving because of what I'm doing?
And if I can't answer?
That's useful information. Maybe you're measuring the wrong thing. Maybe the goal isn't clear. Maybe the activity isn't high impact. Or maybe you simply haven't given it enough time.
So I shouldn't change everything after one bad day.
Correct. Give a strategy enough time to reveal whether it's working, but don't cling to it forever when the evidence says otherwise.
So I need a review point.
Once a week is enough. Ask 3 questions. 1. What created the most progress this week? 2. What took the most energy without creating much progress? 3. What should I change next week?
So I'm constantly refining where my energy goes.
Exactly. That's how you turn 80-20 into a feedback loop instead of another productivity quote.
And the answers don't have to be dramatic.
They shouldn't be. Maybe you discover that studying in the morning works better than studying at night. Maybe 20 minutes is sustainable, but 45 isn't. Maybe speaking with another person helps more than watching another lesson.
Small discoveries.
Small discoveries can completely change a routine.
Because they remove friction.
And they improve the relationship between effort and outcome.
So if something is difficult, I shouldn't automatically assume it's the wrong thing.
Correct. Difficulty is not evidence of low value.
But if something is difficult and produces no result, that's different.
Exactly. You're looking at the relationship between effort and outcome. If a lower effort action creates the same or better result, that's where the leverage is.
So I'm not trying to avoid effort. I'm trying to avoid unnecessary effort.
That's the healthier philosophy.
And that helps motivation because the goal doesn't feel as heavy.
Right. You create more room for the effort that actually matters.
Let me see if I've got it. I choose the action I believe has the biggest impact, make it small enough to repeat, protect my energy for it, and watch the results.
Exactly.
If the results aren't there, I investigate the system instead of immediately blaming myself.
Yes.
And if something else starts producing better results, I shift my attention.
That's the whole idea.
That makes motivation feel less emotional.
Because instead of asking, why can't I stay motivated, you're asking better questions. What's working? What's wasting my energy? What's creating progress? What should I change?
Those questions are much more useful than calling myself lazy.
Lazy isn't an explanation. It's a label.
Maybe the task was too big.
Maybe
the goal wasn't important anymore.
Maybe
I was spending all my energy on things that didn't matter.
And once you know which one it is, you can actually do something about it.
So motivation becomes something I can work with instead of something I either have or don't have.
That's the shift. You don't need to become someone who is motivated all the time. You need to become someone who knows what deserves their energy.
And protects enough energy to keep moving.
Exactly. And now we can turn all of this into a simple system you can use tomorrow morning.
Okay, give me the system.
Keep it simple. One question sits underneath everything. What deserves my best energy right now?
Walk me through it.
Step 1. Choose one goal, not your entire life. One goal that genuinely matters right now.
Let's say improving my English.
Good. Step 2. Find the highest impact action. Ask, what would create the biggest improvement if I repeated it consistently?
For me, probably speaking.
Then speaking becomes your current 20%.
And the other things can wait.
They can still exist. They just don't get equal priority.
What's step 3?
Shrink the action until you know you can repeat it. If 2 hours isn't sustainable, try 15 minutes. If 15 is too much, try 10. If 10 is too much, try 5.
Even 5 minutes counts?
If 5 minutes keeps you moving toward the real goal, yes. We're not trying to win one impressive day. We're creating something that survives ordinary days.
Step 4.
Decide when you'll do it before the moment arrives.
So I don't wake up and negotiate with myself.
Exactly. Pick a trigger. After breakfast, during lunch, before dinner, whatever fits your life.
Then when that moment arrives, I already know what I'm doing.
Right. And prepare the environment. Put the phone away. Have your materials ready. Remove the little decisions that create resistance.
Make the right action easier before I start.
Exactly.
Then I do the task.
Yes. And while you're doing it, don't judge the session.
What do you mean?
Don't constantly ask, am I improving fast enough? Or should I be doing something else? If you've already identified your 20%, give it your attention. Let the session be the session.
And after I finish?
Notice the result. Not just how long you worked, but what actually happened.
So instead of writing, I studied for 15 minutes, I might write, I spoke for 15 minutes without switching languages.
Exactly. That's evidence.
And I keep track of it?
Keep it simple. One sentence is enough. Over time, those sentences become proof that you're moving.
What if the evidence says I'm not improving?
Then review the system. Once a week, ask the 3 questions. 1. What created the most progress? 2. What wasted the most energy? 3. What should I change next?
So I adjust my 20% when necessary.
Yes, your life changes, your weaknesses change, your priorities change. The highest impact action today may not be the highest impact action next month.
That's what makes the system realistic.
You're not trying to discover one magical habit that solves everything forever. You're learning how to direct your attention.
And what about the days when I don't want to do anything?
Use your minimum version.
The 2-minute version?
Exactly. Decide in advance what the smallest acceptable version looks like. If your normal habit is 15 minutes, your minimum might be 2.
So I don't have to choose between doing the full thing and doing nothing.
Right. There's a third option. Keep the connection alive.
I like that.
And don't underestimate it. Sometimes the most important thing you accomplish on a difficult day is preventing one difficult day from becoming a difficult week.
So if I miss Monday, I don't wait until next Monday.
You return Tuesday.
No guilt.
No guilt.
No dramatic restart.
No dramatic restart. Just continue.
Why do we keep making all of this more complicated than it needs to be?
Because complexity feels like commitment. A huge plan can make you feel serious about your goal before you've actually produced anything.
And a small plan doesn't feel impressive.
But it has something much more valuable, a chance of surviving.
So simple isn't the lazy option.
Sometimes, simple is the disciplined option.
Because I'm choosing what matters instead of proving how much I can handle.
Exactly. And if you remember only one sentence from this entire conversation, remember this. Motivation isn't something you have to chase. It's something you protect.
By protecting my energy for the 20% that actually matters.
Right. You don't need to wake up tomorrow feeling incredibly motivated. You need to know what deserves your attention.
Make that action small enough to do.
Repeat it long enough to see the results.
And if it stops working, adjust instead of blaming myself.
Now you've got the system.
That's surprisingly simple.
Simple doesn't mean effortless. There will still be difficult days. Distractions will still exist. Sometimes you'll wonder whether you're making enough progress.
So what keeps me going then?
You don't need certainty. You need a reason to take the next step.
And the next step doesn't have to be huge.
Exactly. Whenever you're stuck, come back to one question. What is the smallest high-impact action I can take right now?
Then I don't have to think about the entire journey.
Just that action.
And tomorrow, I do it again.
Yes.
Until those small actions become something much bigger.
That's how progress usually works. It doesn't feel dramatic while it's happening. One conversation, one workout, one page, one focused session, one small promise kept.
Until one day you look back and realize you've actually changed.
And that's the part people miss. They're waiting for motivation to make them feel different before they act. Sometimes you act first, and months later, the evidence changes how you see yourself.
Because now I can say, I'm someone who follows through.
Exactly. And that identity is worth more than a temporary burst of motivation.
So if someone watching this is completely stuck right now, What's the one thing you'd tell them to do after the video ends?
Don't make another giant plan. Write down one goal. Find one high-impact action. Shrink it until you can repeat it. Then protect a small piece of your best energy for it tomorrow.
That's it?
That's enough to begin.
Maybe that's the whole point. I don't need to become a completely different person tomorrow.
No, you just need to stop spending all your energy trying to do everything.
And start spending it on the things that actually matter.
Find your 20%, protect it, repeat it, let the results build.
I think I finally understand why trying harder never solved the motivation problem for me.
Because you weren't necessarily lacking effort. You were lacking direction.
And once the effort has direction, motivation has a reason to stay.
That's where the 80-20 rule becomes more than a productivity principle. It becomes a way of protecting the energy you need to keep going.
So maybe motivation was never something I was supposed to find.
Maybe it was something you were supposed to stop wasting.
Then that's what I'll remember.
Good. Find what matters. Protect your energy. Make the action repeatable. And let the small actions compound.
Because I don't need more motivation.
You need more of your energy going toward the things that actually matter.
Find your 20%.
Protect it.
Make it repeatable.
And let the results build.
That's a much better way to keep going.
Now go find your 20%.